Maneva na sema PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV de osia dem yopo.
Right. Well, thank you very much, Sarah. Let me start by adding my voice to my seniors and to say a very good morning to our viewers, those who are watching us from Ghana and those who are watching us from the continent. And a big thank you to your producer for the invitation. For this one, I had to force my way onto the show because I had to tell him that, look, on this Alan matter, there are a few cents that I would like to share, and therefore I wanted to be on the platform. So thank you, Tijani, for granting my wish. Now, since we've read chapters of the book, and we have found a way of reducing the chapters to synopsis, I would like to start by itemizing my analysis. And I'll do so on the basis of what I describe as actions which have ultimately led to the decision of Alan Tremantin and to resign from the NPP. Political parties are not built for the purposes of just winning an election. Political parties are built on ideas, on ideologies, on principles, and which principles and ideas ultimately will lead to decisions made by the people to want to select or elect that political party to lead the country. Okay. Now, Alan Tremantin undeniably is a stalwart, or was a stalwart, of the NPP, and joined the NPP on the basis of the principles, the ideas, the ideologies which founded the political party in 1992. And he stated that quite clearly in his resignation address. Now, what are the issues? What led to the resignation of Alan Tremantin from the NPP? And I think that can be predicated on the reasons that he gave in view of the conduct of the internal elections of the NPP. Bear in mind that historically we have seen Alan do the same thing, and so it's important that we let history guide the present. If you go back to 2008, what were the reasons for which Alan decided to leave the NPP party? The reasons are analogous to the reasons as have been expressed today. In 2008, Alan Tremantin cited, amongst others, that his supporters were being intimidated. In 2008, check. Again, he said that persons who were supporting him, who wanted to be members of parliament, who were being, disturbed by some members of the party. And he could not, at the time, sit, watch unconcerned and not do anything, in respect of the things which were meted out to his own following. So he decided to withdraw or, leave the party in 2008. And then obviously we know what happened. Ultimately was talked out of it. A promise was made. Promise was made to the effect that you support the candidate of choice at the time. And subsequently, when he ends his tenure, you can be given the opportunity to lead the party into subsequent elections. So I would say there was, albeit not documented, a gentleman's agreement, that, well, we will let you go after Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo exits. So that was a gentleman's agreement. And my seniors will tell you that in contract, verbal agreements are as binding as written agreements. So anybody who obviously is aspiring to lead the country, who has, had conversations with somebody and the person has promised him, would want to hold the person's words to and to make sure that the person does what that person said. So I'm not at all surprised that we got to the point where in 2008 Alan decided to exit. Now fast forward in 2023, what were the reasons which led ultimately to the decision by Alan, first of all, to withdraw from the race and to subsequently leave the party? What were the reasons? And he enumerated a number of things which led to his withdrawal from the race. One, that there was no fairness in the system. There was no fairness in the process. That it appears to him at the time that the party or the establishment had a candidate, and the establishment was doing any and everything to ensure that their candidate won the primaries. So that was the first issue, and that there was no level playing field. You are going into a boxing match, your hands have been tied behind your back, you've been blindfolded, they've given your opponent iron gloves. They say go into a race and go and fight. You'll be beaten to pulp. So clearly from the outset, the establishment had done everything that it needed to do to ensure that one candidate had the beginning or the upper hand over all the other candidates. So there was no question at all. Then he went into the race. Then he said, my people were beaten. This is an internal election. This is not an election between enemies. We are one and the same in the party. We are going into a contest to elect somebody who will lead the party into 2024 elections and ultimately break the 8, as they always say. But if we are doing this to ourselves, then I don't know what will happen in 2028. And this is not the party that he signed up for. This is not the party that he helped found. This is not the party on whose wings he had flown and on whose stilts he had built his political career. This new NPP is new to him. He doesn't know this new MPP. He doesn't understand why this new MPP is operating the way it's operating. And nobody can tell me that this is no basis for anybody to arrive at a conclusion to take that very painful decision to withdraw from the race to begin with and to finally exit. Nobody can tell me that. Because if you are a man who believes in principles, that you believe in ideology, you believe that you joined an organization on the basis of what the organization stands for, then you should be able to walk out if the party is no longer presenting that which made you join it to begin with. So I have no qualms at all for Alan Kyerematen leaving, withdrawing first of all from the race and subsequently leaving. Now let's look at how he announced his resignation. And for me, that is very crucial. He withdraws from the race and says that, issues a statement and says that I will communicate what I intend to do in the future. I will communicate. So he goes back, whether or not he sat with people to take that decision, nobody knows. Because Solo is claiming that he got to know of the intention to contest as an independent candidate on the day of so I very much disagree, but that is what he says.
You don't believe him.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I
doesn't believe you.
I don't believe you. I disagree. Now, then he makes the point that I want to contest as an independent candidate, and cite reasons why he wants to contest as an independent candidate. And by the way, and I said it on air, and I will repeat it again. And I know that maybe Honorable Beatrice may disagree, but it is one of the best speeches I've heard from any political figure in Ghana. At least since I became politically aware. The chronology. Yeah, the chronology. You understand? The genuineness, in my opinion. The understanding and connection of issues. And how resonating the message was, for me, characterizes that description that I've given to the speech that he made on that day. And you can disagree, but for me, that is the best speech I've ever heard. He tells you that I am for the elite, I'm for the middle class, I'm for the youth, I'm for the women. So he is trying to define to you what his constituency is. And I laugh when I hear people say, what is his constituency? What is his constituency? He is defining to you what his constituency is, and the possibility of getting votes from the list of the categories of people that he described in his speech. So he's giving the NDC and the NPP signals that, hey, if you are not careful, I'm coming into your terrain. So that must be stated. That point must be stated clearly. That is what he sought to do. Now, he also makes the connection that, listen, I'm not only from Ashanti region, as people have always been saying. I'm also from the west, from the central region, Elmina, to be clear. That's my hometown. He's from Elmina. He's from Ashanti region. Now, the importance of that statement, okay, and the possibility of the effect of that statement in the 2024 election is that the central region is a swing region, whether you like it or not. The central region has demonstrated over the years that we are not stooges. We will not just follow any political party blindly. If we feel that this political party has not been able to meet our expectations, we will vote the other way. So it does not belong to any political party. Now, if this man tells you that I'm from Elmina, Central Region, and I'm from Ashanti Region, then you should be worried that the people may very well decide that, you know what, ultimately, we don't like NDC, we don't like NPP, we vote for Allah. There's that possibility. As we speak today, we are all not soothsayers to be able to predetermine what will happen in 2024. We don't know. None of us, all of us sitting here, we can only wish, but we do not know what will happen in 2024 elections. Now, and I think that I don't want to focus so much on the speech because I've looked at it. But what is significant for me is the response of the NPP and the response from the NDC. First of all, the response of the NPP suggests to me that they are scared. They are shaking in their marrow, their bones, they are shivering, they are sweating in their pants because they know, and it's undeniable that Alan Kyerematen has played a pivotal, significant, relevant, rememberable role in the NPP. They know it. They know that he has a definitive constituency. They know it. They know it. I got to know of Alan Kyerematen as far back as 2000 and I believe 4 or 5 when I was in KNUST. Then I heard of this man, Alan Cash. I said, who is this Alan Cash? And you will be surprised, Senna, that at the time on campus, almost every single person, if he had won, if he had become the flag bearer, NPP would have won the elections. I promise you. Because all of us, the young people, every single person wanted to just catch a glimpse, see him keke. At the time. And all of us are the ones who have grown up and who are in various places, who have found ourselves in different places and working and things like that. So there's anybody who says that he doesn't have a constituency is just deceiving himself or herself. That's a fact. The guy built himself right from 2006 at the very least through till now. So NPP is shivering. The comparison between Alan and Mahama is also there. That people always say, oh, Mahama is a fine gentleman, but Alan too is a fine gentleman. I'm enjoying that. He's a fine gentleman. He's just like Mahama. So if Alan it can only be if Alan had won the NPP primaries, it would have been very tough for the NDC in 2024 because he has exactly the same personality as former President John Dramani Mahama. Mr. Nice Guy, the people's person, the people's man, etc., etc. But he didn't, so we'll move from there. So the NPP obviously is afraid. They can't, look, why? What was the statement that they issued? That, be calm, remain calm, let's stay united. But who has said that there's division? Nobody has said there's division. So why are you putting the cart before the horse? The person only simply said, I am resigning. Then you issue a statement, say anybody who intends to follow Alan must consider themselves having resigned from the party. They do that, they go ahead. the treatment meted out to Alan, even if people are not going to support Alan from the party, they will stay away. They can decide, they can pretend to be in the party, but in the final analysis, they will go and vote for Alan Kyerematen. Why? If you have a person such as Alan Kyerematen leave your party, then you have Chairman Rotimi issue a statement instructing people to go and remove Alan's paraphernalia and things like that from the party headquarters. A day after Alan's resignation, it means that you do not recognize the importance of Alan in the party. In fact, you are even waiting for Alan to exit the party. You couldn't even wait for Alan to announce his resignation. You just simply went ahead and removed, you know, his posters and things like that from the party headquarters. That was very disrespectful. So, are you telling me that today, if the party now realizes that, oh, Alan has some influence and therefore we need to go back to him and engage him, Alan will be willing to engage you because of how you've treated him? You've disrespected the man. You've treated him as a nobody. But you know that the man played significant roles at various levels in your party, and that led to your party coming into office. So you cannot discount the contributions, the significant ones for that matter, of Alan Kyerematen. Don't treat him like that. And then you do that, then what happens? So what? You did that, and then what? And then what? Now, coming to the NDC. You see, and I'm being extra careful.
And I'm listening carefully.
She's afraid of
she can't be. She's not afraid at all. The NDC ought to tread cautiously. Maybe I should premise my argument on this, that the NDC should tread cautiously. I've listened to varied arguments, plethora of them, of people mocking Alan Kyerematen, discounting his relevance and significance, and creating the impression that he is no match, and creating the impression that he is not a force in the upcoming 2024 elections, and creating the impression that he doesn't have the constituency. I think that the NDC should be very minded by these words. These are words spoken by people who are complacent. Complacency. These are words spoken by complacent people. That you think that you have won 2024 elections. That you think that because of the mismanagement of the economy, palpably so, by the Nana Danko Akufo-Addo administration, you have won 2024, and therefore nothing else, all the variables are irrelevant. In politics and in political strategy, people even find ways of filtering into the camp of the opposition to win members to their side so that they can win convincingly in the election. Check the records. When power changes, what are the dynamics, the political dynamics of you have people who either contest as independent candidates, or you have a lot of people contesting on the tickets of different political parties. Ultimately, those people creating or reducing the vote of a political party to the advantage of another political party. So that in political strategy is important. So you must acknowledge the fact that, albeit that you are excited that the NPP is perhaps on the verge of breaking, on the verge of collapsing, okay, you should not also, it must not be lost on you that you need specific people to help you win 2024 elections. Now, I did some analysis with some of my members in Forum for Accountability. I think that was in 2016, I believe. No, 2015, yes. And you can contest it, it's arguable. If you look at how political parties win elections, ordinarily, you have staunch NDC members. They will never change, they will never swing, they will never be swayed. So you have them. So you have, let's say, about 40% of those people belonging to the NDC. Okay, they will vote. It's automatic. They will vote for the NDC. It's automatic. You have also about 40% okay, of people who will vote for NPP no matter what. They are there. Now you need 50 plus 1. How do you get the 50 plus 1? The people who give you the 50 plus 1 do not belong to NDC or NPP. Even if they belong to these political parties. Those are the people who say that, oh, there's some apathy and then they will swing, So there's always that 1.5% that you need, okay, to be able to give you that 50 plus 1. How do you get that 50 plus 1? What makes you think that Alan is not the wheel or the lever that you need to ensure that you get that 10.5% of people who do not belong to political parties or who would not necessarily vote for NDC or NPP to win the elections? You are underestimating the relevance of Alan and overemphasizing your relevance. Hey man, and I'll say this, and I said it, and I'll say it, that the 2024 elections is a very funny one. You have a former president of Ghana who was rejected by the people of Ghana, and that's a fact. Former President John Dramani Mahama, I love him, he knows it. I respect him, he knows it. But he was rejected by the good people of Ghana, and that's a fact. Whether the reasons for the rejection of former President John Dramani Mahama are relevant, I do not know, or justified, I do not know. But what I know is that he was rejected. Then you have a vice president who, and as was escorted by senior DISASSOCIATES some time ago, that if they had Baumia in NDC, I'm not sure they would have opted for any vice president. They would have just allowed President Mahama to go without a vice president. But yes, but that's a fact that you have a vice president who is not trustworthy. Let me just use that word, not trustworthy. And who has over the years demonstrated that he is not a person you can rely on. He's not reliable, he's not trustworthy, he's not genuine, he's not truthful. That's also a fact. Okay? So you are going into an election with persons or personalities with baggages. They all have baggages. How do you sell your message? So you must sell your message in a way that will resonate with the people who are in the middle, who would say that, oh, even though former President John Dramani Mahama has been president before, even though he had his own flaws, and the NDC admits or must admit that President Mahama had flaws, okay? He has been there. He has now, he's looked at the situation, because in research, when you do objective analysis, it's always the best. When you sit back and you look into the situation, you'll be able to now look at the things that you did perhaps which the people did not like. Okay? Of course, some of them he solved, and that's also uncontested. He dealt with it, and the NPP even admits that he dealt with Dȯȯm. So that's a fact. But between the period of the Dȯȯm experience till when he fixed it, businesses collapsed. That's a fact. People lost their jobs. That's a fact. People lost their lives. That's a fact. So he also must address that particular big elephant in the room. And I hear communicators of the NDC try to, just jump over the excesses of the NDC and then just run at the NPP. But who says the dynamics are the same? 2016 is not the same as 2022. How old were you in 2016? What were the things that you needed in 2016? Those things that you needed in 2016 are not the same things that you need in 2020. So there can also be justification for NPP to say that the demands of people have changed, and which is why government directed its policies towards specific things, so they can also defend themselves. You get the point? So NDC should not see this as an automatic, rubber stamp victory for the NDC in the 2024 election. They have a lot of work to do, and I'm surprised that we have 16 months to an election. 16 or maybe less. So now we are 15 months to an election. And I do not know the policy of the NDC. Beatrice is telling me that in 2020, but who says in 2020 I wanted, for instance, if I wanted V8 in 2020, I'm just saying for the purpose of, for lack of better, example, that if in 2020 I wanted V8, who says that in 2023 I want V8? My needs have changed. My appetite has changed. I want new things. We are in 2023. Circumstances have changed. So you cannot rely on what you used in 2020, okay? Which Ghanaians again rejected, to say that you are going into 2023 with it. That will be disastrous. That will be political suicidal. So the NDC should also let Ghanaians know, and this is the time. There's no better time to start than now. They should not wait and say we are starting next year, January. Why must they wait to start campaigning, from January? They should be able to let us know. Oh, that we have designed, We have designed a policy that caters to the needs and demands of old age people who live in the villages. For instance, you have somebody who works on the farms. The person is 60 years old. The person does not have any pension scheme. So you say, oh, every month, I'm just giving an example, every month we'll make sure that there's a data. Okay, that data, we'll make sure that every month we'll pay all the people ranging between the ages of maybe 70 and above. We'll pay them, let's say, maybe 100 cedis or 200 cedis. And just, that is a policy. That you have policies that caters to the needs of both the formal and the informal sector. And that is the problem I find with all the political parties we have in this country. All the policies that we have are tilted towards addressing the needs of only the formal sector. What about the guy who sells dog chairs on the streets of Kaneshie? What about the guy who sells watermelon on the streets of Nima? The Fiesta Royale, the guys who sell dog chairs on the streets of Fiesta Royale. So we do not think about them. Are they not Ghanaians? Why is it that we do not carve out policies, which policies will also address the needs of these young people on the streets of Ghana? Why is it that the person who lives in Atimasafo, we do not have policies, which policies directly, addresses their concerns? The person who lives in my favorite constituency in the north, Honorable, which one is that? I like Baba's constituency. I like Baba Seidu's constituency. Gambaga. You understand? We have to ensure that there is a holistic policy, which policy will deal with the issues of the people of Ghana. Simplicity. So let's not discount the relevance of Alan Senna. Going into 2024, you would need Alan. He may not be the running mate to former President John Dramani Mahama, because I still believe, and let me state it here now, that if the NDC makes the mistake of changing Professor Denano Pokwadima, I will personally campaign against the NDC. I'm telling you. Because then it means that you used the woman. You used the woman. It means that you didn't genuinely believe in the woman. That you wanted to use the woman to get a certain constituency in 2020 elections. It means that you didn't like the woman. Okay. So the NDC must also not make the mistake of changing Professor Denano Pokwadima, because Ghanaians will see through them. Then it means that John Dramani Mahama, former president, was not also genuine. And Ghanaians will know that he's not learned from his lessons. So we must be very minded and guided. The NDC needs to ensure that they form some alliance with Allah. I don't know how they're going to do it, but this laughing and teasing and discounting him, he has gravitas. Let's not do that. Thank you, Senna.
Thank you, Kwame Usudan. So we are concluding the discussion on the very first topic that has to do with Alan Shomantin says it from the New Patriotic Party. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll be talking about the Bank of Ghana demonstration. This time around, I'll start with lawyer Beatrice Annan. We'll be right back.
PENDREAM TV. Now, so far so good. Say open online portal le Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.